we've kind of figured out some ways, and I do know about you, because, we do this life every day, but we figured out some ways to get into momentum in our health, in our faith, in our finances, getting out of debt, increasing, communication. I mean, hello right there. That's pretty cool, right? We've learned how to communicate with each other.
Yes.
Okay, I think we've learned how. She's like, we're still going to work on that one.
No, we've learned. We both learned when to bite our tongue, too, at times, and just smile.
I've never bit my tongue.
Ever.
Ever. So that's how Massive Momentum got started was, yes, I wrote the book, and we're like, what do we want to do all summer? Last year, we literally traveled the world to Europe, and it was rewarding. We had beautiful photos to show us, because for the last 30 days, while we've been grinding out, setting up and tearing down all this stuff, you know how Facebook reminds you where you were a year ago at this time?
We're like in Croatia.
With our feet up, sipping Mai Tais.
In the Amalfi Coast.
But you know what? When we were sipping Mai Tais in the Amalfi Coast, it was fun, it was rewarding.
Yeah,
but I was like, if this is what people work so hard to finally do one time in their life, I think we've all been sold a dream. Don't get me wrong. You want to go to the Amalfi Coast and get that photo. Yeah. It's so worth it. But when I was over there last year, that's actually what prompted me to write the book. That prompted me because I'm like, I had filled all the needs of my life, and then what? And I think that's what most people work towards retirement for.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting to come into, to get back into massive momentum in all areas of our life, and that's what we wanted to share with you.
I think the biggest thing is when we were in the Amalfi Coast, it's like, oh my goodness, who do we want to be with us? So we sat there saying, this is really cool to be here as a family, but how many other people out there need to be awakened to see that this is possible for them not to wait till you're 60, to get to go on the Holland America cruise line and tour the world, but that you can create it, like we're going to show you, for us, it's been consistency plus time always equals success. And what we found in this journey is it's that heart of that hustle. And so when I looked over at Doug, last summer, and then over at his eyes as we were on our flight to Singapore, when this book was burning within him to get it out, I knew okay, it's time to do this thing. And so when we started to get different calls from different cities, like Donna, where she was very persistent to get us to come here, it was like, yes, we'll come, because we knew this summer was about being with the people. Because we want you to know within you have what it takes. It's just really taking the daily steps to doing it. Doing the daily action steps day in and day out that sometimes feel very mundane, but is so worth it in the long run. So, this is tour number 21.
21. So 3 to 4 stops turned into 25.
Yep.
And we're at 21
yep.
of 25, but I'm certainly not counting them down at this point.
Yeah.
But we've been having so much fun. And what's cool is, here later, we're going to invite you to, well, you can do it now if you want. We have a massive momentum Facebook group, and it's free to join. And I just want to make sure no one is nervous about tonight. We have nothing to sell you, okay? Seriously, we have nothing to sell you. Except if you want to buy my book or one of the gear from Kick Fear in the Face. But we felt like, to us, God said to go this summer and to literally just help people get into momentum in their life. Mm-hmm. So we did. We're just like faithful stewards of what we've been given, and so we're just like, let's just go. And the $19 is to offset the cost of this venue. Okay? So I just want to make sure no one knows, at the very end, okay, Doug's going to give us for 5 easy payments of $49,999,999. You can join my nothing. Okay? It's just we want to help you get into massive momentum. So what I was about to say was we're now 2 to 3 weeks on the tail end of people that have joined these events. Mm-hmm. And the fruit and the breakthrough that's coming out of these nights and this community that's starting to swim together to get into massive momentum is powerful stuff. And it's just fun to be around like-minded people who are in pursuit of what matters most to them. Because, guys, the truth is, well, you can read it in the book. I hate to admit it, but I almost left her about 12 years ago. We were massively in debt, massively overweight, and we found some tools to crawl out. And we just want to share those with you. That's it. And because I've made a lot, and now in the last 10 to 12 years, we've made a lot of money. We've learned a lot of things. And we've realized that money is very important, and I make no apologies for making money. Mm-hmm. Because too many people in our world is telling you not to chase money. Well, I don't know what world you're a part of, but my world. They were telling me, Doug, chill out. You know, Doug and T. Oh, here, Doug and T again. I was talking to a couple over here when I was signing books. And the moment that they started helping other people get healthy, they're like, man, people started just hating on us. I'm like, yep. That happens because we're living in this world. And when you start making a lot of money and you start getting a lot of breakthrough, yes, we want to take care of our family and friends and the people around us and help people make massive impact. But guys, there's a lot more going on than just money. There's a lot more going on than just losing weight. There's a lot more going on than just serving our community groups and our church groups and helping. Like, there's real stuff. Like, I want to know how you're navigating Monday through Friday, not just your beautiful Facebook post. Or not just how you're getting yourself, you know, what you're doing once or twice a week, but how you're living the day to day, because that's the stuff that matters to you.
It's absolutely the stuff that matters. And on this path, I mean, I think what I know to be true is it all starts with a decisions. You came to this spot tonight because you thought there's something there that I need to gain for my life, or somebody invited you to come sit in the seat tonight. But everything comes down to a decision. And tonight we want you to focus on one area of your life that you're going to make a decision to be able to move forward in your life. For me, I had, in this journey of life, I would say one of the main things I had to do was begin to take personal responsibility in my own life and how I showed up as a mama, and how I showed up as a wife. And this started early on in my marriage and in my parenting, that I quickly realized a lot of the patterns of my grandmother and my mother started to begin to come through me into the next generation and into how I interacted with my husband. And I could have stayed blaming, oh, that's how my mom did it, that's how my grandma did it, so that's just how I'm going to be. And I had to realize, no, I have the power to be that chain breaker and to change the tide, to look at the blessings of my grandmothers and my mother and how they pray for me and how they've taught me hard work ethic. But the other things I was no longer going to give attention to. So I began to be intentional in finding those coaches and those moms groups and those counselors that would help me begin to take personal responsibility in how I showed up as a mom, and being patient and being loving, not yelling over spilled milk. That's how my mom had always done it, so that's how it was going to happen in my home. I began to change the tide. Now, this didn't happen overnight, and I can even say today, as I'm in Starbucks, I'm sure the people in the Starbucks were like thinking, okay, why are you not yelling at your kid? But I mean, I had to get down on Phoenix's level. I had to get in his eyes and let him know, like, bud, we don't do this. First, I had to get him caught, and then I had to do that, where I know, like, if I looked in the past, I would have probably been yelling, like, get over here and all that stuff, but I had to, gain composure, be emotionally intelligent. But that's the area in my life that before I even began to get healthy, and other areas that, have had major breakthrough, that foundational thing for me in taking personal responsibility and how I showed up as a mom and a wife was essential in my personal growth.
Yeah. So we gave you guys these note cards. They should have been sitting on your seat in front of you. Everyone got them? Pull those out, and if you're taking notes, I want you to write this down throughout the evening. And if you're not taking notes,
he's going to ask you to take notes.
I want you to write this stuff down, because this is about ready to get good, guys, okay? And if you don't want to write on that piece of paper, you can write over our face if you want. You can take notes in your phone. But I want you to be thinking tonight of the areas, a few key areas. There's about 6 of them we're going to go over.
Yeah.
And again, if the shoe fits, wear it. Because I truly believe that there's some people in here tonight that the reason that your life or your business or your health or your finances have been so hard lately is because you haven't fully committed. You haven't made a decision to commit to what you know your future self is calling you to do. What the breakthrough on the other side of your yes, and you're actually fully committing. My friend Grant Cardone wrote a book, Be Obsessed or Be Average. It's a great book. I think everyone should read it. It's better on the audio download. But he talks about, man, until you become obsessed about something, it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
And for me, I had to wake up. You got to understand, I come from a very entrepreneurial family, and I'm thankful for my lineage. Okay, all of us there's blessings that come from our family that birthed us, and then our grandparents and our greats, and the lineage can keep going, and half of them we don't even know about. But there's also some bull crap that comes with our family. And we have to, at some point, wake up, because, and for me, waking up was, my father told me, he helped me make money, and he taught me how to make money. And he got me into the furniture business, and it was really good in seasons. But I'm thankful, he also warned me. He goes, Doug, there's going to be really, really, really hard seasons in the furniture business. I want you to be prepared for them. Okay, my father set me up to win. He also told me that debt is normal. Okay, he goes, you're going to have debt. That's called living in America and paying your taxes, okay? Debt, taxes, and a few other things. And you know what? I believed him on the debt. Mm-hmm. So I started accepting debt as normal, starting with car payments, starting with having credit cards and not being able to pay them all off, and using those as my emergency versus cash reserves, especially when times would get hard, or we would go a little excess on Christmas, and one thing would lead to another.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until it truly was. I remember. I'll never forget it. It was the summer of July, summer of 2010 in July, exactly 9 years ago, that I made a decision to break up with debt. Mm-hmm. I was $220,000 in debt. When you're $220,000 in debt, if anyone is right now, you know the feeling. But I'm going to even take away the zero, because the things that we all go through in life, add or take away a zero, the sleepless nights, the phone calls that you get are not fun. Okay, so whether you're $2.4 million in debt, $220,000 debt, $20,000 or $2,000 in debt, it's all relative. Just take away the zeros. The sleepless nights, the how am I going to get through this, really cause you to absolutely go crazy. But I'll never forget, I made a decision, and I want everyone to write that down. Decision, at the top of your page, really big. Decision. And throughout the night, you're going to probably be thinking of things that it might be time to make a decision in. So I made a decision to break up with debt. That debt is not normal. I don't know how long it's going to take me, but I'm never forget. I came to you, and I actually, first of all, current reality is an acquired taste. I had to go add it all up. Yeah. I had to go actually open up all the bills, log into all my online accounts, and see actually how bad the mess was.
Yeah.
Okay, to see how much I was going backwards every single month. Yeah. But I made a decision that I don't care if it takes 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, mm-hmm. I am going to break up with debt. Mm-hmm. I also made a decision to stop blaming my family or just accepting my health or me being extremely overweight as normal.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just like, it's just the way my parents are. My dad's always been big. And don't get me wrong, I always tried to lose weight. I never made the decision and committed to it. Or I was one of those guys that I would be so stubborn that I would only eat less and work out more. Let me just tell you, you reach a point in your life to where it's like, okay, I cry uncle, I need help. And I needed to find a health coach. I needed to get around a community and people that could actually help me lose weight and do it, even though it wasn't the way I wanted to. I had to lose my pride. And I made a decision to partner with my future health of where and what it could look like. Tia?
Yeah, and part of that process, as you begin to make that decision, this is where we talk about confronting. And this is that area where the obstacle is going to be the way. As we begin to make that decision, there's going to be resistance that come. But because you've made that decision, you're able to navigate the obstacles and stay the course. And we decided that we're not going to do this alone. You guys sitting in the seats, now when you go home tonight, you're going to no longer realize you're no longer alone, right? In this pursuit of living your best life. So we began to confront the area of obesity in our life. I began to confront the area of how I wanted to parent. I didn't want to continue on how the family had done it. I wanted to continue on in the hard work ethic and continue on in how I prayed for my children, but in how I showed up every day, I wanted to be more present. I wanted to be more on purpose. And so I needed people. I needed coaches. I needed a parenting coach in that area. I needed a coach in the area of my health. And in our marriage, like over the last 19 years, I think how many times, babe, we've probably gone to, I don't know, 9 or 10 different marriage conferences. We're continuing to grow and evolve. We're continuing to put our seats in the seats you're in tonight because we're in pursuit of becoming the best version of ourselves. So when you're in this process, you're gonna begin to confront it, but because you've made that decision, it doesn't make it easier, but you now are laser focused on where you're going and you begin to get people around you. You're not doing it alone any longer.
Yeah, so just understand that the stuff we're talking about is decide and confront, okay? And massive momentum, it's like if the shoe fits, wear it. Why? Some of you guys might be asking, why am I not having momentum year over year? Why do I feel like every single year I'm like, 2019, here we go, baby. Woo, right? Where's all my 2019, get the party started. Amazing. Nobody wants to admit. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. It's good to have goals at the beginning of the year. It's good to have goals every day. But it's good to set new goals at the beginning of the year. But there's nothing like people that say at the end of the year, you guys ever notice people at the end of the year say, 2018, I'm so done with you. 2019 is going to be my, And I'm like 2018 is a person. You understand that the year itself does not have spirit. It is what you make it, right? And so to get into momentum in our finances, you have to decide. To get into momentum, to stop complaining about your spouse, is you have to decide to stop blaming them. Well, if they would have came tonight, I wish they were hearing this. No, you're here, and this is for you, not them. And that's what living above the line is. That's the millionaire's mindset, is taking personal responsibility and stop thinking about who needs to be in this seat, who didn't come, or the person you're wanting to nudge right now. No nudging tonight. A few nudgers are like, yeah, see, he said no nudging. But no, it really comes down to taking personal responsibility, because when you make a decision, I mean, I had to make a decision. People have been asking me, and Susie will be up here later. We'll be talking about my book, and she'll be asking me some questions. But like people ask me all the time, like, are you a church boy or are you a millionaire? What if you could be both? Yeah. In this world, everyone wants you to pick a side. Are you red or are you blue? I don't know. Does everything have to have a decision? Are you a church boy or are you a millionaire? What if I want to be both? What if I needed to go to Israel last year to decide and to make some decisions about confronting some things in my faith that I was led to believe that maybe was or was not true? So I decided to put my butt on a plane to Israel to go and see the truth for myself, so I could come back and write a healthy book, not a book full of bitter and spite. Right, Tia? Because if I would have wrote that book a year and a half ago,
it would look very different.
It would have been, dang, this dude's got some good points.
He's got some spice.
He sounds angry.
A little angry.
Right? So decide. Make a decision. Some of you guys are in the middle of making some decisions tonight. I know you are, or if it seemed hard, make a decision tonight. You know the area. Number 2 is confront. Don't be afraid to confront some of the ways that maybe you've been raised, maybe the ways that you've been thought is normal. Confront things in your life that may not be serving you. It's that little thing that kind of creeps up on you about every 3 months. When no one else is around. There's that thing when you slip away by yourself. It's that maybe that thing that you, maybe isn't big, but it's like secrets. It could be a little secret Taco Bell addiction. Right? Run for the border at 11 o'clock at night. And if I buy it and I clear 6 tacos on the way home and I discard of all the trash in the outside can, my wife will never know that I went through Taco Bell at 11 o'clock at night, other than seeing me on the toilet the rest of the night. But it was so good going down. But you know that it's like these little tiny things. It could be a drink leading to 2 to 3 to hide in the bottles. I'm not picking on anybody, but I am picking on the little things in your life is holding you up from getting into massive momentum. We're thinking like, it's no big deal. Life is good. I can get through this little stuff to you. And that's the point. But you want to thrive. Our friend... I think this is important, in the Massive Momentum group, our friend Craig Kimball, he spoke, he has a great podcast called The Final Percent. And in the Massive Momentum group, you can go watch his talk from Denver.
Powerful.
He was a guest speaker in Denver. And he talked about going the final percent. And I'm not going to butcher it for you, but basically, how many of you guys remember the solar eclipse like a year and a half ago? The total eclipse, right? And you could only see it like in Oregon, Wyoming.
Just a few states up
right?
there.
He went up to Wyoming to see it. And he goes, the whole day, everyone's getting out their little glasses. Do you guys remember this, some of you guys? Okay, I didn't go. I didn't make the flight up there to see it. But he's like, the whole day, everyone's kind of putting on their glasses and no big deal. And like, what's the big deal? And then it starts to get dark. And like, he's like, seriously, is this it? Is this it? And people were already taking off their glasses saying, oh, that was cool. But he stayed in there. And he said for literally, he goes at 99%, he goes, it was cool. And people were already starting to go back to drinking beer. He goes, but when it switched over and he had those glasses on, it was a total blackout for 30 seconds, 35 seconds. Everything went pitch black. And he goes to look around. He goes, what his awakening was how much of his life he lives at 99%. Yeah. Going just enough. Oh, it's so great. I'm making $200,000 a year. Life is amazing. We stop doing what got us there. It's confronting below the line thinking. It's confronting just enough. Some of you health coaches in the room. It's confronting saying that June or July sucks. No, it doesn't. You suck. Okay? It's confronting 6,000 in frontline volume is all you need. No, it's not. 12,000 is the new benchmark. Okay, I'm not going to let Dan Bell decide my abundance factor. Okay? I am going to have a millionaire mindset and decide. T and I decided 7 years ago what our benchmarks are. And why we weren't even planning on going into this.
We weren't going there, but you're going there.
I don't know. It's just you got to confront these things. Yeah. Tia, it's important, though, that they understand that we've confronted this stuff. When no one is looking, the late nights, the early mornings, we've confronted mindsets.
Yeah. Yeah. Dreams take work. I said in a couple of your books, there's the heart of the hustle. I mean, waking up before the kids get up, setting the atmosphere of my home, getting the diffuser going and having my quiet time. That's not easy. It takes great intention to, be strategic in how I start my days because I know that's how I'm going to show up the rest of my day. So being busting through those patterns that, how I had lived my life before to be able to go and create what I wanted to create, it took great intention. And when you make these decisions, when you begin to confront these beasts, these areas that have tried to take down your family bloodline for generations upon generations, it's going to take every part of you to become a creator of your life. I kind of had to do this, like draw the line in the stand, no more almost like no more caca. Like I am going all in, like deep into the pool. I'm going to go and become the best version of myself. Now, I'm not saying I didn't have hard days, but I still woke up every day, took action, dreams take work. And I pushed through even on the days where I didn't want to get out of my PJs. I still made those calls. I still got up before my kids. I still, still did the work because I became a creator of my life. I was no longer going to react. Many of us kind of take what comes to us. And if you're in June, July, August, why we've done this massive momentum tour in the summer months is because we knew we're better together and the community at large needs to be in community because that's where momentum continues to take place. So these summer months, it takes great intention. So the heart and the hustle and the grit you're putting in right now, I promise you that are in the seats, your businesses, your marriages, your parenting is going to be 10x by this fall because you're showing up, you're doing the work. But the number 3 in this action plan that we're saying, you decide and you confront, but you begin to become a creator, no longer reacting to life, but setting, what are your intentions? How do you want your days to look? Partnering with your future self, which I'm going to talk with you a little bit more about tonight, but deciding what do you want the end goal to be? Because once you decide that, those action steps are going to line up in your life, but you're going to have to get really, really selfish about what you want to create. And your friends, people around you might not understand. Your mom might not understand.
No, they won't understand.
They won't understand.
Yeah, might, huh, T?
Thank you. He's my blunt. I'm like,
well,
love. No, your mom, for a season of my life, as I began to create the life I wanted to for my family, I didn't talk to my mom for 6 months. And it wasn't that we didn't verbally we didn't talk because I was going forward and she didn't know what to do with that. And I was no longer listening to the drama. I wasn't engaging in that. and she saw it. And there was not much communication that was going to be had during that season until the next Christmas came, and we had to have that heart-to-heart. And then because of the time and the space, some healing took place, but it still took many years for her to fully understand what the heck I was doing. Yeah. I'm out here changing the world. She's not totally getting it. So it's going to look different. Yeah. People are not going to understand what you're up to, but they're not paying your bills. They're not leaving the legacy to your kids. You are. So go after it and become the creator of your life.
Yeah, so understand this as we wrap up this segment. When we decide what we're about to do, we confront the things that are holding us up from getting there. Okay, look, I'm trying, we keep going back here, and it's like a figure eight between them all. Because if you made the decision, you must confront the things that are holding you up from getting there. I want you to confront just good enough thinking. I want some of you globals or presidentials, I want you to confront that you've arrived. There's things that are holding you up. There's mindsets that you can do more, that you can do massive things. And when we begin to create our life, we do not live by anyone's standards but our own. That's why I'm big on being a chain breaker. Mm-hmm. I believe each and every one of us here tonight are chain breakers. We have the ability to break chains off of our life and off of other people's lives that are holding us up. But we begin to be a chain creator because we say, you know what, if it's going to be up to me. This is what the Wood family is going to stand for. This is what the Smith family is about to stand for. Mm-hmm. Like, thanks, Mom, Dad. I love you. Thanks for teaching me these gifts. I'm gonna learn and I'm gonna apply what you've taught me. But this is how we're gonna do it in our family. I know we've done it like that on Thanksgiving Day every single year, but we're gonna have Thanksgiving at our house this year. Right? Some of you guys went, holy crap, you did that? Yes, I did. Yes, you know why? Did. Because in our home, we set the atmosphere. Okay? I am very important. Yeah, you know what? We can go and get kids, and they're really adaptable. But we begin to see, we didn't want our, I went and visited. Our home was never a big drunken mess, but we got tired of justifying Uncle Bob's actions and his comments to our kids. Mm-hmm. That's just family. Well, you know what? At some point, you got to confront the way your family thinks and say, you know what? They're kind of jacked up. Okay? They're really living a life below the line. Nothing against them. Judge-free zone. It's just I'm choosing to live my life differently, and I'm going to start creating healthy boundaries. I'm going to start creating healthy holidays. Yeah. I'm going to start creating abundance. Just because somebody used to tell me that making 6 figures a year, a lot of money, what's wrong with making 7 figures a year? What's wrong with making 8? Because the world tells you, the Bible tells you how much you should give. Mm-hmm. Right? Thank you, God. But what if I want to give 11% or 12%? And then some people are like, is it 10% of the net or is it 10% of the gross? Dude, it's just 10 freaking percent. Don't dissect it. It is whatever you want it to be. Yeah. Why not try giving 11% for a while? See how that feels. Why not try going into Taco Bell and stop ordering a freaking water cup and filling it with Sprite and think nobody noticed? Nobody did notice, but you don't feel quite right about yourself because you tried to save $1.79, or the whole family ordered one soda and they all went back and took turns refilling the dang soda cup. I'm like, seriously, guys, it's not a money issue.
It's a mindset.
It's a mindset that I'm going to create and live a life with excellence and abundance, and I want to invite you into that process because there's so much freedom. And we started making money and getting breakthrough in our marriage before we started recognizing these things in the last 4 years, maybe 5.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think as you begin to, walk out this life of abundance and shifting those little things, these were the areas we had to confront and really begin to play above the line and have that when we talk about a millionaire mindset, it's not like $1 million. It's like looking at a piece of paper on the ground and picking it up. If you hear baby Kate's story in Doug's book, I think she was 5 years old and she had to carry around, I don't know if it was gum or a banana or something for all day just to teach her the intention of you don't throw things on the ground. Some of you are like, wow, that's a little extreme, but she will never throw anything. That girl
and
is
now you go over there and she'll turn around and sell you a book or a bracelet. So you better keep your wallet in your back pocket. Because that girl, she don't play games.
Yeah. But we just want you to know, these action steps, we have lived them out. We we are with you in living them out. Like, we have not arrived. Like, we are still every day staying committed to the decision that we want. Right now, like, the decision was we are coming on this road tour to come and be with the people on the Mass Momentum tour.
We want to do the easy thing. We want to start to do the familiar thing when we're creating, because when you're creating, you don't have to do anything. That's why it's very careful when you're saying, what do I want? Most people know what they don't want, because it's usually like a magnet. It'll pull you back. When you start saying, what do you want, and you start to get it, the closer you get to it, the more comfortable and the more you back off. Mm-hmm. And when you're in times like that, saying we have got to contend.
Yeah.
And being a contender is very important, because we could have easily said, oh, we're struggling.
This is horrible. Like, woe is me, you know, like.
Yeah, you can get Eeyore.
Eeyore-ish.
It can be all about you, and you can be like, oh.
Just this word alone, though, in our life, the energy, do you hear struggle? You hear the energy of the struggle, or you hear the energy of contend? Like, contend is a more forward-moving, like, energy, and struggle's like kind of weighted and weighs you down. So just that alone changing, like, we don't use the word struggle in our home and how we function as a family. We are contenders. And so we had to stop in that moment and ask, like, okay, we made the decision. What are we going to contend through? Okay, we're going to go, like, now we have not stayed in our RV since that night, but we are contenders. And in our life, as I look back in seasons of our life, I mean, the contending, I got a little emotional the other night in my talk in New York, and I know we're on the East Coast and we like hold it all together, but you might need to go like have a throwdown in your car and like cry it out, like, you know, like you and God or whatever, blast your music, listen to a podcast, like get your head moving forward, because you're not succumbing to the struggle anymore, right? You put yourself into environments and you surround yourself with the things that are feeding your mind, because you are a contender. So that shift of mindset over the years for us has been huge.
Yeah, so in the past you may have struggled with something, but now you're no longer struggling. If you want to move forward and find breakthrough in it, you're contending for a better marriage. You're not struggling in your marriage.
Yeah.
Don't stop giving so much power to the problem. I'm struggling in my health. No, you're not. Shut up. You're contending for your health. Mm-hmm. Okay? And I know what it's like. I don't care where you're at right now in your health. Okay? I can make all the excuses in the world. I'm contending for my health this summer, being on the road, living in a hotel, out of suitcases every single night, not even getting home. It's not easy, but I'm contending for my health. You want more finances? You're not struggling in your finances. You're contending for breakthrough, and so break up with the word struggle.
Yeah.
If you want to find literally complete breakthrough in it, you're contending for what you want.
And then
favorite word.
Our favorite word, that, do the action, and, I say kick fear in the face. You feel the fear and do it anyway. This is where that action, like picking up the phone and making that call, like getting up early when nobody else is getting up early, putting in those hours of running, because you're running a half marathon in the fall. For me, I'm running a half marathon in the fall, and I'm running a marathon in March in Jerusalem. So I have to take the action. Now, am I perfect about it? Absolutely not. I think do you get that? Like, I'm not perfect, but we're daily contending, and I'm daily taking action in the pursuit of becoming the best version of myself.
Guys, what you want takes work. Yeah. It's going to take a ton of action. I've always said, you know what? Too much white space on the calendar, the devil will find you. Yeah. Because he finds us when we're scrolling on Facebook and on Instagram.
And
we're comparing ourselves to somebody else's filter, right? And this thing's going to take work. Susie and I will talk about that here in a few minutes, about literally the action. I call it the heart of the hustle. Yeah. And you know what? When you start taking action, people are going to start asking, first of all, what event are you going to on Wednesday night? Sounds a little weird. Yeah, I know we're a little weird, right? People can't figure, when you're in action, you start confusing people because they start feeling lazy. Just chill out. Let's do some Netflix. No, like it's the same stuff. Like, I'm tired of making Netflix rich. I want to be rich. There's nothing wrong with saying it. Think about it. Every time you're watching a sporting event, you are watching somebody's at their best. You're not watching them Monday through Saturday.
The work they're putting in.
The work they're putting in, the nutrition, the ice baths, the practice, over and over and over again. You're only seeing them show up and win the World Cup.
Yeah.
Okay? We went and saw, a couple weeks ago, we went and toured the University of Alabama Crimson Tide's locker room.
Roll Tide.
Okay? And I got to see these guys in there, these boys, the whole team in there in the midsummer. We got to see, the only place we couldn't take photos was them doing live sets in the workout room. And I began to see everything that goes into what makes Alabama arguably, or not really arguably, the best football team, at least currently in the last 10 years, who they are. Because we only see them here in a couple of months when they show up ranked number 1. I'm in there seeing the work that they're putting in and day out, and they are working their butts off. They are doing everything that nobody else is doing. I'm getting a lot of, it's interesting being on this tour right now out in the summer, and we could be a lot of places right now sipping Mai Tais. And I'm not saying that like, oh, how great we are and other people aren't. I'm just saying, I don't even know what we're creating right now, Tia, but all I know is we're contending and we're doing massive action this summer. And you know what? God always blesses action. You just usually don't see it for a couple of weeks. You don't see it for a couple of months. And I think that's where the true test will come the moment you walk out of here. Tomorrow morning, waking up, putting the decision into action when you don't feel like it, when the cat poops on the carpet, when all hell breaks loose and you roll into town and you don't have a place to stay and you were supposed to be on Zooms and you could be like, oh, I need to cancel and we'll reschedule. Or you can be the pro and you can stand out in the sweaty Washington, D.C. humidity and do the Zoom outside from your phone. Totally unprofessional, but I'd rather show up than be unprofessional and cancel. You guys see what I'm saying? This thing takes work. It takes action.
Yeah, and I want to end with this. This is the difference between living a very successful, intentional, on-purpose life is the consistency, the day in and day out. And I re-listened to a Brendan Burchard podcast this morning of just literally your nutrition and how you're fueling your body, 100% is how you're going to show up. So if you're feeling like you're not getting the results that you want right now, look at your nutrition. How are you fueling your body? That was what he, like, okay, Brendan, I don't want to listen right now, but I'm listening, and then, water, like, am I drinking over 100 ounces of water every day? And he even said, up that, if I'm doing those two fundamental things, am I intentionally figuring out how I can get that quiet time in my day that I have 3 kids, I've got a husband, I've got a team all around me. Like, how am I going to be intentional in this season of my life? Because it takes consistency. You can do all of these things. You can make a decision. You confront these areas, create, contend, take action. But the difference between building a very successful business, a very successful family, a very successful marriage, and just a successful you is your consistency in the day in and day out. When you have a bad day, you don't let it become 10 days. You let it stop at a day and a half or 2 days. You don't let it become a month or a year. So the reason why is that we've stayed the course and we've stayed consistent is because we've surrounded ourselves with people like this. So that would be my biggest encouragement from this segment and this really power-packed, like 6 fundamental things you can live by is surround yourself. You become like the 5 people you surround yourself with. If you're the smartest person in that people group, start to look for a new people group because you want to be around people that make you uncomfortable, that actually make you rise to a new level of awareness and consciousness. And because if the people around you are all coming to you like, oh, you're amazing, it's good for a while, but you got to get to that place where you go find people that are going to actually challenge you and grow you. So we're grateful for this tour. We're grateful because we have been able to meet and connect with all of you that want more, and we want more too. So let's commit to being committed to consistency. We say daily commitment to be consistent.
Yeah, because to that point, Tia, it ends where it starts.
Yeah.
It's the daily commitment to be consistent. It's the daily commitment to recommit to the original decision. You know how many times, that's why you have to write down your goals every single day, or at least every week. It's got to stay in front of you because this world will throw so much, I'm not going to say shade, but so many distractions are coming at us every single day.
Yeah.
That unless we are laser focused, this is a great place to segue, is nobody can probably remember the car ride that they drove here in tonight. At least I can't. I drove my truck from the hotel here. and I don't remember the drive. Why? Because we all drive. Half of us still drive and text. Others of you can change the radio station. Ladies, I've seen you putting on makeup while driving with your knee and carrying on a conversation, right? Men, we're guilty of something else too. Okay, so the point is we don't remember driving. But do you remember the first time you learned how to drive?
Yeah.
Or the first time you got a new phone? The first time you finally converted from the Samsung to the iPhone? Remember that? Huh? Yes. Okay, some of you Samsungers are like, Doug, I liked you until now. You just picked on my freaking Android. Okay, but it's like learning a new operating system. You're like, okay, how do you download? Shoot, I hate this thing. Until you start to love it. It's in life, when you make a decision, you got to go back to 10 and 2. Yep. You got to go back and wake up and learn how to drive all over again. Yep. To stay what I call in the 3%. The 3% mindset. While 97% of America is living one way, 3% are doing certain things a certain way. You're going back to 10 and 2 and recommitting to this decision. It becomes a conscious decision every single day. Yep. It's just like looking at this phone and learning it and recommitting, because it's easy to go back to the old iPhone or to go back to the Samsung because that's what's easy. But we know that there's usually breakthrough on the other side when we try things for 3 to 4 days, and then it becomes more of a routine and comfort. And that's why we want to be consistent to the decision. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, one of you. Thank you. Does that make sense to anyone else? Okay, Tia, we are maybe getting somewhere.
I know.
Huh?
I love you.
I don't know.